Verstappen and Hamilton come together again. It is brave from Lando Norris. Verstappen throwing it to the inside. They're both off. Big crash on board and a huge amount of debris.
Formula One isn't just about speed, it's about the personalities behind the wheel. Some drivers are strategic masterminds, others are fearless risk takers, and a few, well, they're just here because of their wallets. From dominant champions to absolute wildcards, F1 has seen it all. Today we're diving into the legends, the controversies, and the downright bizarre figures that make this sport so entertaining. Buckle up because this is one F1 ride you won't forget. The greatest F1 drivers, legends that define the sport. Every sport has its icons, but in Formula One, true legends are forged on the racetrack. These are the drivers who didn't just compete, they dominated, redefined the sport, and left an impact that can still be felt today. Some built dynasties, others shattered records, and a few became larger than life, transcending the world of motorsports entirely. Names like Schumacher, Senna, Hamilton, and Verstappen stand above the rest, not just for their success, but for how they changed the sport forever. Michael Schumacher is the definition of dominance. A 7-time world champion, Schumacher didn't just win, he destroyed the competition. He turned Ferrari from a struggling team into an unstoppable force, bringing them 5 consecutive titles between 2000 and 2004. His ability to extract every ounce of performance from a car was second to none, and his ruthless racing style left his competitors in awe.
In 6th place, what an absolutely phenomenal drive by Michael Schumacher. He was helped by mistakes by the Renault team, but it's given him the victory.
Even after a brief retirement, he returned to F1 with Mercedes, proving that his hunger for speed never faded. But beyond his achievements, Schumacher's legacy is bittersweet. After a tragic skiing accident in 2013, the world has been left wondering what could have been. The man who many considered to be the purest racing talent in history. His ability to drive in wet conditions was otherworldly, as if he had an instinctual connection with his car. His rivalry with Alain Prost defined an era, and his aggressive, no-compromise attitude made him both admired and feared. But Senna's life was tragically cut short at the 1994 San Marino Grand Prix. A moment that changed the sport forever. His death led to major safety reforms, ensuring that no driver would have to suffer the same fate. Even decades later, Senna's name carries an almost mythical status as the driver who pushed beyond human limits, who rewrote the record books. More wins, more pole positions, and more podiums than anyone else. Hamilton's stats are simply unmatched.
Lewis Hamilton from 14th on the grid wins the German Grand Prix.
But what makes him so divisive is that he's more than just a driver. He's a global icon, a fashion figure, and an outspoken activist. Some see him as a trailblazer who's brought much-needed change to the sport, while others criticize his off-track persona. Regardless of opinion, his place in F1 history is secure, and his legacy will be debated for years to come. Now, Max Verstappen represents the new era of dominance. He's young, aggressive, and completely fearless. Unlike the calculated precision of Hamilton or Schumacher, Verstappen brings an old-school, no-nonsense mentality to modern F1. Whether it's his ruthless overtakes, fiery radio messages, or refusal to back down in wheel-to-wheel battles.
Verstappen is making up a huge amount of places there as he goes past the McLaren of Fernando Alonso.
Verstappen has solidified himself as the most exciting driver of the current generation. Some call his style too aggressive, but love him or hate him, he's built to win, and he's only just getting started. But for every great champion, there are drivers who make history for very different reasons. The geniuses, the rebels, and the wildcards. Formula One is a sport of precision, discipline, and relentless focus. Except when it isn't. Some drivers have become legends not just for their talent, but for their personalities, rebellious attitudes, and unforgettable moments.
If my mom had balls, she would be my dad, so...
These are the figures that keep the sport entertaining, bringing chaos and unpredictability to a world obsessed with order. Is one of the most effortlessly cool figures in F1 history. With a personality as cold as the Finnish winters, Kimi was never one for unnecessary words. Whether it was his infamous, "Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing" radio message.
Kimi, next guy behind you is Alonso. I'll keep you updated on the pace.
Just leave me alone, I know what to do.
or walking straight to his yacht after retiring from a race, Raikkonen operated on his own terms. Despite his lack of words, his talent spoke volume. He clinched a world championship in 2007 with Ferrari and remained one of the most respected drivers on the grid until his retirement in 2021. Fernando Alonso is a different kind of legend, one that simply refuses to leave. A two-time world champion, Alonso is widely regarded as one of the most skilled drivers in F1 history, capable of pulling off magic even in an average car.
Here comes Alonso, the new world champion. Back-to-back world championships for him.
But his career has been a roller coaster of questionable decisions, controversial exits, and endless comebacks. His stints with McLaren, Ferrari, and Alpine were filled with moments of brilliance mixed with frustration. And just when you think he's finally done with F1, he finds a way back, proving that talent and determination can defy time. Then there's Sebastian Vettel, a driver whose career transformation is unlike any other. During his 4 consecutive championship-winning years with Red Bull, Vettel was the villain of the grid. Fans resented his dominance, and his famous multi-21 controversy with Mark Webber cemented his reputation as ruthless. But as he aged, Vettel became one of the most respected and beloved figures in F1.
Oh, there goes Alonso around the outside and cops!
His move to Ferrari brought heartbreak, and his final years with Aston Martin showcased a man who had evolved into a mentor and advocate for change. The once despised champion became a hero in his final years. But for every respected veteran, there are those who are remembered for very different reasons. The most controversial drivers, love them or hate them. Formula One has always been filled with polarizing figures, but some drivers push controversy to another level. Whether it's reckless driving, questionable ethics, or simply rubbing fans the wrong way, these drivers have built a reputation that follows them everywhere. Nikita Mazepin was perhaps the most infamous pay driver in modern F1 history. His talent was questionable at best, and his off-track behavior made him even less likable. From his reckless driving to his disturbing controversies, Mazepin's short-lived F1 career was a disaster.
Very much so. Oh, no!
When Haas finally dropped him, no one was surprised and no one really missed him. For different reasons. Unlike Mazepin, Stroll has actually proven himself with podiums and even a pole position, but no matter how well he performs, the shadow of his billionaire father looms over him. Many believe he's only in F1 because of his dad's financial backing, and that perception is unlikely to change anytime soon.
Not competitive.
Driver who seems to clash with almost everyone. He's undeniably talented, but his history of feuds with teammates, from Pierre Gasly to Fernando Alonso, has made him one of the least trusted drivers in the paddock. His aggressive on-track behavior and stubborn attitude mean he's always in the middle of drama, whether he intends to be or not. A driver best known for spectacular crashes. While he had moments of brilliance, his tendency to be involved in accidents overshadowed his actual skill. Yet, his miraculous escape from a fiery crash in Bahrain 2020 turned him into a symbol of resilience.
And a big fire there as they exited out of turn 3, and that looks very...
But controversy isn't the only thing that defines a driver. Sometimes it's the weight of expectation. The future of F1, young stars and rising pressure. Every era of Formula One is defined by a new wave of young talent looking to dethrone the established champions. The pressure on these rising stars is immense. From the moment they step into an F1 car, they are expected to prove themselves against the best drivers in the world. Some crack under that pressure, while others rise to the challenge and become the future of the sport. The current generation of young drivers is no exception, and among them are names that could define F1 for years to come. Oscar Piastri is a driver whose calm demeanor and precise driving have already made waves in the paddock. Unlike some of his more outspoken peers, Piastri lets his performance on the track do the talking.
4 feature race victories in a row for Oscar Piastri.
After winning multiple junior championships, expectations were sky high when he finally got got his shot in Formula One with McLaren, and so far, he has lived up to the hype, consistently challenging more experienced drivers and proving that he has the makings of a future champion. But the question remains, will his reserved nature hold him back in a sport where personality often matters just as much as skill? Then there's Lando Norris, one of the most popular and marketable drivers on the grid. With his social media presence, meme-worthy humor, and natural charisma, Norris has built a massive fan base.
I'm moving up and down, side to side, like a roller coaster.
But behind the jokes and playful personality, he is an incredibly talented driver who has consistently delivered strong performances for McLaren. However, despite his speed, Norris has yet to win a race, raising the question, can he truly take the next step and become a world champion? George Russell is another driver with sky-high expectations. After years of outperforming his car at Williams, he finally secured a seat at Mercedes, a team that has dominated F1 for nearly a decade. Many saw him as the natural successor to Lewis Hamilton, but his tenure at Mercedes has been anything but straightforward. While he has shown flashes of brilliance, including his maiden F1 win, he has also struggled to consistently challenge Hamilton. The potential is there, but the road to championship glory is proving more difficult than many expected.
And Hamilton's 10 laps of hard work are rewarded. He's now the lead Mercedes in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, it was a surrender in the end from Russell.
A driver who is as entertaining on the radio as he is on the track. His fiery temper and aggressive driving style have made him a fan favorite, but they have also raised concerns about his ability to mature into a top-tier driver. While his raw speed is undeniable, his emotional outbursts and inconsistencies have held him back. The talent is there, but can he control his temperament and develop into a true contender? The future of F1 is bright, but with that potential comes immense pressure. Not every young driver will live up to the hype, and for some, their time in the sport may be shorter than expected. However, those who do manage to rise above the challenges could go on to become the next legends of the sport. But while the future is exciting, F1 has also seen its fair share of drivers who will be remembered for entirely different reasons. The GOATs of the sport, but not in the way you think. When people talk about the GOAT, greatest of all time in Formula One, names like Schumacher, Senna, and Hamilton usually come up. But then, there's another kind of GOAT in F1, the ones who are remembered not for their victories, but for their failures, bizarre moments, and general incompetence. These are the drivers who became legends for all the wrong reasons. He was never expected to be a world champion, but his career took an unexpected turn when his crash at the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix indirectly led to one of the most controversial championship deciders in F1 history.
Nicholas Latifi has crashed, and I think that is at turn 14. That will be a safety car, and coming into the pits, Max Verstappen. Hamilton stays out.
His accident brought out the safety car that ultimately allowed Max Verstappen to snatch the title from Lewis Hamilton, turning Latifi into an unwilling villain in the eyes of many fans. While he was never a top-tier driver, this single moment ensured that he will always have a place in F1 history. Logan Sargent, the latest American driver in Formula One, has found himself in a difficult position. With the rise of F1's popularity in the US, many fans wanted to see an American succeed on the grid. However, his performances have been underwhelming, leading to speculation about whether he truly belongs in the sport. With so much pressure on his shoulders, his future in F1 remains uncertain. And then there's Pastor Maldonado, the ultimate wild card. Unlike Latifi or Sargent, Maldonado actually won a race, a stunning victory at the 2012 Spanish Grand Prix. But outside of that one incredible moment, he was best known for crashing a lot. Whether it was spinning out on his own, colliding with other drivers, or receiving endless penalties, Maldonado became infamous for his unpredictability. He was fast, but also dangerously inconsistent, earning him a reputation as one of F1's most reckless drivers.
Faster than anyone else. Well, it is. Oh!
May well have been, might have been Maldonado slowing. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, there's Mal.
Formula One is a sport that rewards skill and consistency, but it also has a way of turning its most chaotic drivers into cult heroes. Even if they never reach the heights of a Schumacher or a Hamilton, they still manage to leave a lasting impression on the sport. But F1 is also full of drivers who never quite reached the level of superstardom, but still deserve a mention. Honorable mentions, drivers who deserve a shout out. While some drivers become icons and others become memes,
Sergio Checo Perez!
there are those who fall somewhere in between. They may not have dominated the sport, but they played an important role in shaping F1 history. Daniil Kvyat, also known as the Torpedo, had a roller coaster career in F1. He showed flashes of brilliance, but was ultimately dropped from Red Bull in favor of Max Verstappen. To make matters worse, Verstappen went on to become one of the greatest drivers of his generation, leaving Kvyat as nothing more than a footnote in Red Bull's history. On his best days can go toe-to-toe with the best in the world. But his inconsistency, especially during his time at Red Bull, has raised questions about whether he can truly sustain a title challenge. While he has secured race wins, his struggles against Verstappen have made it clear that he is not Red Bull's main man.
Got DRS enabled, say goodbye to the Red Bull of Sainz. And here's the move, Sainz can't defend DRS, there's the move to the inside, there is second position.
And then there's Daniel Ricciardo, one of the most charismatic drivers F1 has ever seen. With his infectious smile, hilarious interviews, and daring overtakes, Ricciardo became a fan favorite. However, his career took a nosedive after leaving Red Bull with disappointing stints at Renault and McLaren. Now fighting to make a comeback, Ricciardo remains one of the most likable figures in F1, even if his best days may be behind him. Formula One is full of stories, some of triumph, others of missed opportunities, but whether a driver is a legend, a meme, or a controversy magnet, they all add to the rich history of the sport. What makes a great F1 driver? At its core, Formula One is more than just a competition. It's a spectacle built on the personalities, rivalries, and drama that unfold both on and off the track. Some drivers will be remembered as legends, others as villains, and a select few as complete disasters. But each of them plays a role in making F1 what it is today. Greatness in F1 isn't just about winning races, it's about leaving a lasting impact. Whether it's Schumacher's dominance, Senna's passion, Verstappen's aggression, or Raikkonen's ice-cold attitude, every great driver brings something unique to the sport. Even the controversial figures and the underperformers contribute to the chaos that keeps fans coming back for more. So now it's your turn. Who is your favorite F1 driver and why? Do you admire the legends, laugh at the wild cards, or root for the underdogs? Let us know in the comments below.